Hello, welcome to another landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy, and the painting I'm bringing you today is called Pohutakawa, which is the New Zealand Christmas tree. Maybe you noticed at the beginning I didn't call this tonalist because it isn't tonalist. It's a much brighter, more direct approach, a bit of an experiment actually. And I'll apologize in advance. Somewhere around the, I think it'll be around the 10-minute mark or so. You're going to see we have a little gap in the video where I thought I had the camera on and recording, but did not. But either way, I think that's pretty valuable to watch this painting come together. And it's a bit of a, I wouldn't say it's an impressionist approach. Actually, it's a very direct. Uh, Kind of just brighter chromatic approach, I guess is what I call it. So less mud in the colors and overall lighter in tone. And like I said, a bit of an experiment. At this point in the painting, we're not much different. We're just doing our drawing. And I have a pretty simple design here. And the thing is, like, so what we have is a tree, and we're overlooking a bay. And the little strip of ground on the bottom is just a bit of lawn. These are the kinds of things that I might usually try and find me some other reference other than a bit of grass, but I have some strategies for dealing with that, and you're going to see us deal with it here. One thing is that just to get you tips right off the bat, because I know you're anxious for tips. It's like, so you've got a boring strip of grass, well, or boring anything. You can kind of subdivide it with a few diagonals and implant here the in the reference image I used. It was just plain old blank grass. Oh, a little bit of an interruption there from my puppy outside the door. First he was doing a lot of itching and chewing, and then he's doing a lot of whining when I kick him out. Anyway, you can subdivide boring areas. Like, say you got just this blank path or road, you can kind of just do a few slashes. Like, you see how I put a little diagonal slash at the bottom, and then I put a little bit of a diagonal at the top. That just creates a little bit of interest in what would have been a boring area. And also, of course, you can modulate your colors. The other thing that I kind of want to mention is, like, I don't normally love just like a bay, you know, or a line with a horizon. These little hills in the back, by the way, in the reference photo would have been 1/3 that size, if not 1/4 that size. So here's another tip for you. You know, when you have these like distant hills or distant mountains or whatever, you always make them bigger, okay? Because to our human perception, they would have been bigger. The cameras, especially the wider the angle, the tinier it makes things in the distance, and it'll seem like something that was like, you know, that was just on the other side of a pond. Might look it was like it was on the other side of a lake, for example. So there's a really good tip for you. Just make them bigger, and also you really don't want to. I was just laying this on a student the other day. When you have these like distant hills and things, you know, you want some modulation of color. A lot of times I treat them in my mind as like basically part of the sky. But you can tell they're not part of the sky, but tonally they well, the word tonal made it into our video today. Tonally, they are, you know, not deviating that far from the colors in the sky. There might just be a little more of an edge there. Or here you can see I went in with a little more of a flatty, earthy, taupey color to sort of indicate that those were hills back there. And you'll see in a minute or two, I just break them up a little. Yeah, so even though we're going to have a little bit of an interruption in the painting, and it'll be where we get into this red and green in the trees. Now these trees out here, they actually are incredibly, they're just like this. It goes half red, half green. And there, if you're in the States, you might be familiar with like a bottle brush plant. I think the Pohutakawas are a tree that's sort of, these little red flowers on there are very much like the bottle brush. They're only around for a couple weeks during the year, but it's really vivid and really intense. Pardon me, a little bit of a catch in my throat. All right, so I did have some Sky reference, which I took my liberties with, and that's another thing I want to pass on to you. You know, if you can, like if you have some computer skills, and I have a student that's trying to learn that sort of thing right now, but it's tough. You know, it's real easy for me since I used to work in the business, you know, and use the computers to make art all the time. To set up an alternate sky in a image or what have you, it's super important in a kind of scene like this. It doesn't have a lot of like, well, it ended up turning out pretty interesting looking, I'll admit, but the initial reference photo of the sky was completely white. The tree was focused and you could see the color differences in the tree, but there was a lot of design that was applied to this. And that's the other thing I want to say is, you know, and that comes from good old Stapleton Kearns. And if you haven't checked out his blog, it's amazing if you're a landscape painter. It's so much information there. It really helped me out 10 years ago when I was starting out with my landscape painting journey. And one of the things that he would hit all the time is that you have to design the picture. You can't just sit there and copy things, you know. And you might go, well, geez, I'm not that good at that. You know, well, the way to get good at it is to start doing it. And one thing you can do is like do little thumbnails, little small drawings, with a quite like a piece of charcoal or something, so that you're not hung up on details, and start moving shapes around and looking for relationships. Like one thing that I really stress in this image, that I think there's not much in it, so that tree is obviously the strong focal point, and I wanted a real springy tension in it. So now there was a bit of that in the original tree in nature, but I actually increased that a bit by using the liquify in Photoshop, which can give you some weird artifacts. But let's face it, when you're setting up reference in Photoshop or any program, you're really just looking for something to inspire a really nice painting. It doesn't matter if it's you're not trying to win a photo contest. Now, a lot of these points, by the way, I hit all the time in the members area. There's a live version of this video. It's actually going to be a good one to watch because the live version includes all my color mixing at the beginning. And I'm actually showing a bit of the reference image too, so you can kind of get a lot more insight. I don't do that on the 15-minute because it just doesn't come off when it's all sped up. To just see, especially at the beginning of a video, it's just sitting there mixing colors. But the members area is designed for a slower pace, and I think this video in the members area is about just below 2 hours long, so a good one. And this is the thing, you know, a lot of people, one of the big questions I get asked all the time is like, well, how long did this take you to do? And I'll be honest, well, you know, I can maybe manage a painting like this every day. So you can see how I'm breaking up those hills back there. But it's not like with landscape painting that the more time you put into a painting, the better it'll be. It's really almost the opposite of that. What'll happen is that the more time you put in, the more choked up and less emotional content you're going to have in your painting. And by choked up, I just mean your brush work, your brush strokes and your brush work are all going to be really start getting stiff, and where you had some expressive quality, what you'll end up with is a lot of little tiny strokes, and everything looks overworked and overwrought. So more time in a landscape painting is not a good thing. But what I will say is that not every you're not going to hit one out of the park every time you get up to bat, you know. So you got to you have to do a lot of work so that when you do get up there on the easel, you know, your work's fresh and immediate, and that's really much more valuable. And this is a lesson, you know, it sounds like it's just coming from me, and you go, yeah, well, that's great for you, Mike, but, you know, I got to work at things, Well, this is especially important if you're a painter starting out. You're better off with your, do a painting and say, I'm going to get this done in 2 hours or 3 hours. The whole thing, and then I'm going to walk away. and you'll see it's much better than all of the paintings that you labored over for days and weeks. It will be. You may not realize it that at that moment, because you maybe are just having some frustration and like of falling short of what you shot for. But I guarantee you, if you leave it alone over the next days and weeks, you'll start seeing, yeah, that's actually one of my best ones because it's fresh, you know. And if you, especially, you know, I can apply this. I definitely apply this to the music that I make, which is, there we just see we just popped in to the Pohutakawa tree. And I'll just tell you what I did real quick since you can't see. I restated my darks, which you did see, but then I went in with some dark greens on top of the black and some dark reds, and I'm just gradually moving the tree to lighter and lighter tones from there. Yeah, but it's pretty striking, and a bit jarring when we see the switch. And we totally apologize for that. I always try and get everything recorded, but you know, things happen. I might point out here too in the grass area, I want the grass to be quite vivid, but I'm starting off with it a little bit muted, a little bit knocked down, because there's another thing that I think painters starting out don't realize is they go, oh, I see that grass, it's so bright. Well, you can't just make something that's already brighter. So if you start with really bright paint, and you try and make it brighter, you'll find you have nowhere to go. So in this case, I did mute things a little, and what I did there is I had a kind of a bright green mixed, which again you would have seen me mix in the members area, and then I just knocked it back with some raw umber, and that gives me room for what I'm doing. Gonna do next in the grass area, which is, you know, put in some much brighter, more flashy greens. And there's another tip. There were a lot of tips this video, and actually one of the reasons I did this sort of brighter painting is I see there's you know, I love tonalism and I love dark paintings, but I see there's a bit of a hunger out there for brighter. And I'll be honest with you, I could paint paintings like this every day, all day if I want. My love of the dark paintings is, you know, just because I love tonalism. But so many of all the skills that I have are applied to this, just like any other painting I might do. Like there's plenty of monochromatics on the channel, and there's plenty of mono pigment paintings where just, you know, one color's featured or earth tones are featured. In this case, I could have even tried to pull this off with a minimal palette, but in a sense I sort of am, except that I have definitely got purple, dioxine purple involved here. And like I said, get into that stuff in the members area, and I am, you know, not pushing the members area on you, but I have determined with most of my members area videos to get a little more teachy right now, and hopefully that'll give people some more value. Here you can see I'm pulling up now. I'm not painting every little bottle brush, but I am pumping it up, and then sort of doing a little blending, a little mixing, you know, because what I want to get across is that these are individual, like, flowers in the tree, and not flowers in the typical sense, like I said, little bottle brush type flowers. Anyway, hopefully you enjoyed watching me paint this painting, and you know, hopefully you'll get a chance to come out to New Zealand sometime and see these beautiful trees around Christmas time. It's a real feature, and it really is strongly featured in the tourist art out here too. So who knows, maybe I'll sell this painting to some New Zealand tourist, and that would be just great. Oh, by the way, if there's ever a painting on my channel here that you like, send me an email through my website, landscapepainter.co.nz, and let me know you're interested and that you saw it on the channel, and I'll make you a deal. Yeah. Anyway, till I come back with another video, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, and all your loved ones, especially the world's a bit mad right now, so we all need to be patient with each other, and especially people that have points of view that alternate from your own. And while you're doing all that, take good care, stay out of trouble, and God bless you.